coming and sitting. I'm going to be talking, I'd like to show you, I'm just going to give you a big picture first. I've been into raw foods on and off for 30 years, and I've learnt a lot about the journey that I've walked, and today I want to show you some really simple things about how we can really look after ourselves, and I want to talk to you about what it is to be human, because I think while we eat a lot of denatured foods, our basic nature is being affected. So does anybody feel that? Like, you know, if you eat a really big meal, you end up wanting to just collapse and retire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could allow the possibility, like I talk in possibilities because every single one of us is unique, has a unique journey to walk, has a unique contribution to make, and has a unique way of being in ideal health. So we can't really walk anybody else's journey, but you can walk your own, and it will take you to places that if you truly walk it from an intuitive place, it will take you places where you could never imagine if you tried to do it somebody else's way. So I want to show you some simple foods that we can eat to replace maybe processed foods that we're eating, but I mainly want to inspire you back to what you know to be true. Because when we eat denatured foods, it's affecting our awareness in a huge way. If you could allow that you are naturally telepathic. Human beings, we are very compassionate. We're very compassionate in our nature, and we rise when we're needed. Who recognises that in themselves? If you're needed, boy, does it bring out the best in you. Now, while we don't feel like we're needed, which is kind of the lives that we're living, we're isolated to a huge degree, and then we end up making choices that relate to not necessarily knowing who we are and feeling who we are. I talk to mothers all the time, and I say you would never put food into your child's body that would kill them. Who as a mother would put food into a child's body knowing it would kill them? I've never met one yet. And yet, we are being so affected by what's going on that we are making choices that are way down on the scale for the people that we love. Way down. And it's, you know, I talk to a lot of mums, and when that comes in for them in here, that they are doing things that they intuitively know would harm their children, it changes everything in a second. They make life-changing decisions in a second, not because they're forced, not because they're told, but because they know. And this is where I like to come from, is that we all intuitively know, and yet while we're eating denatured foods, it kind of doesn't matter so much. Can everybody feel that?
Yeah.
Like, if you do one thing that's not it, then you do another thing and another thing and another thing, and then we're over here making decisions that are so far away from what we know to be true. So what I'm wanting to do today is give you an opportunity to come back to what you know to be true, because that is where you are of greatest service to yourself and everybody else. So is everybody okay on that?
Yes.
For me, food is very secondary, and food is a very natural inclusion into the journey of actually wanting to look after ourselves and our loved ones. Yeah? So this weekend I've come down from the Gold Coast, and I'm working with Lisa Davanisa, who has created this product called Mana Blend. It is a bunch of 11 superfoods that are incredibly supportive of your well-being. Now, to me, that included in a nice diet that supports you will support you go a long way. My experience is that we all actually, it's funny, like I just go, look at the person next to you just for a second, even if you don't know them, just have a little look and know that in a moment, that person would step up to make sure you're in good stead. Even a stranger, in a moment, if they felt a need, would step in and look after you. This is a totally natural aspect of being human. That's part of what's being smashed while we eat foods that we're eating that are not actually created for our well-being. Also, when we are immersing ourselves in parts of life that we know intuitively are not right for us. And it's quite a journey to stand up for ourselves. Who finds it difficult to make decisions on behalf of what you know to be true when you have people right in close that have different viewpoints.
Oh.
Who's faced that? Yeah. So what I can tell you, I'm working in this area and have been for a long, long time, and I've walked my own journey around compromising everything, often. And what I've noticed, the more and more I step up and stand for what I feel to be the best for me and my loved ones, the more I stand, the more they actually come into their own around it. When I used to compromise, I used to think I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I didn't want to do something that would compromise our relationship. But what I've found more and more is every time I compromise, I actually compromise that relationship because I'm not looking after them. And I don't care now whether people like me or don't like me. They know where I stand. The people who know me know where I stand, and they know that I'll always be true to that. And I'll tell you what, you become somebody, when you do that, you become somebody that people can rely on, that people trust, and the people will, they'll change in front of you because of where you stand. Now, young people do that a lot. They just say it how it is. And as adults and being suppressed by the foods we eat, we tend to shut that down in children. So today, it's like if any children want to come up and help, you're welcome, because you know how to do this. Children are totally switched on in the area of good food. They recognise nutrition. Our bodies recognise nutrition. When we eat, who knows that when you go to put something in your mouth, generally before you've even put it in, your body's gone, yes please, or no thank you, what are you doing? Everybody know that? Yeah. So I know I just totally love chocolate, and I would buy a block of organic dark chocolate, you know, good stuff, and I'd go, this is going to last me a month. Anybody done that? And by the end of the night, it's all gone. And I go, great, I won't have any for a whole month. I've eaten it. And then within a week or so, I'm buying another block. Now, part of this is processed foods. We have as soon as something is dead, as soon as food is dead, we have no gag reflex. When we put live food into our body, the body has its own natural relationship with living food that we stop. Immediately our body has had enough, it says no more. Now when we're eating denatured foods, that relationship disappears, and we can feed ourselves silly on things that don't work, and we want more. Everybody recognise that? Yeah. So what I recommend for people is that if you try a raw food diet, even for 1 month, and see what happens, you will be totally happy with what happens. Even if you start to detox, even if things sort of switch on and you've got pimples or, you know, all those things we don't like to have happen, you will feel like a different person with 1 month. I totally love supporting people. I have some business cards over on my stall, so come and talk to me afterwards if you're at all keen. But I know that you will get back parts of yourself that you don't even know are there while you eat denatured foods. So is everybody okay on that? That's where I'm coming from. I'm going to start making food now, but I wanted you to know that I am totally keen on all of you getting your lives back, because we are so much more than what we've been led to believe. We think who walks around thinking you're a bit useless sometimes? And we do affirmations over the top. Yeah, well I tell you what, human beings are magnificent. And we have a flow for the whole universe, and it doesn't stop at the door or at the person that you have a grudge with or that you love. It actually goes out. It doesn't stop ever. So the more we can come back to the truth of that flow, the more we take our place in the universe, not just in Sydney or in our job. We actually can become who we truly are, and then we support everybody else around us in a very unspoken way. So there we go. So what I'm going to do first, I'd like everybody to try some mana. So I'm going to open some, and I'm not used to talking on this. Is this too loud?
No, it's perfect.
Or is everybody okay? Can you guys hear me? Okay. So this is a Vitamix blender. Those guys are just over there. Great blender. I'm going to do a little bit of advertising. So I'm going to put some water in here. My first business was a restaurant. I have never used a recipe in my life. So when people say, how much water did you put in? I go, about that much. None of it matters. When you're eating raw food, none of it matters. Just your taste and the texture of what you want. The rest you just play with, find yourselves, find your way. If you need to use recipes, go for it. But I tell you what, it's an intuitive thing. And we're better off walking a little bit of a journey, being uncomfortable maybe in the kitchen for a moment to find that we actually know how to prepare food.